tuition skyrocketing right when high-paying jobs are dwindling. The one vehicle that helped generations of Americans raise themselves out of poverty and build wealth in our society is now a pipe dream for too many. Capitalism? This is your conscience speaking. Are you listening? Terry Savage is a nationally syndicated financial columnist and author of The Savage Truth on Money. Elizabeth Klein is the author of Overdressed, the shockingly high cost of cheap fashion. To feel more wealthy, this middle class, on this illusion of grandeur with all of this debt, was buying cheap manufactured products from around the rest of the world. So maybe your wages were stagnant, but you could still fill your house with stuff. Maybe your wages were, maybe you had to borrow a bunch of money to send a kid to college. You couldn't send the kid to college, but you could still finance a new car. We were building this life helped with labor from around the world. Walmart has been criticized for not signing onto a global pact to improve worker safety in Bangladesh. Now more than 100 Walmart employees across the U.S. are walking out. They've also raised money to bring 2 Bangladeshi garment workers to Walmart's shareholder meeting next week. The reason why we're talking about this is because Walmart sells the stuff to make the middle class feel better, but it's made with people who are working under conditions I think most middle class families would not abide by.
Right, and I wrote a book about the fashion industry, and one thing that was so shocking to me is that if you look back, you know, as recently as 1990, we made half of our clothing in the United States, and now we make between 2% and 3% in the United States. And the garment and textile industries were 2 of the fastest dying industries of the last 10 years, and that job loss has been felt acutely, and we don't make those connections as consumers. When we walk into that Walmart and buy that product from Bangladesh, we're not thinking, oh, I'm not supporting a job in my community or in my own country, but really we do need to start making those connections.
But Americans aren't really given a choice, right? I mean, sometimes people blame the middle class, and they say, oh, they like cheap, you know, they want to live high on the hog, blah, blah, blah. But you're not given a choice. It's not like you go to a store and they're on this in this lane, you can pay more, but you know that it's supporting a middle class job wherever, here or somewhere else. You can't go to this lane and say, this is going to cost a little more because it's made, you know, and the water isn't being poisoned. Over here, you can pay really, really cheap, and somebody's going to die in the rubble of a Bangladeshi factory.
Well, we've sort of shopped our way out of a choice. If you look back 20 or 30 years ago, certainly we could choose between a domestically made product and one that was made overseas. Right, but what we're seeing now is a turning point where there is actually an increase in domestically produced clothing. There are more ethically sourced, fair trade fashion brands. So in the next couple of years, we are going to see more consumer choice out there in the market. And what's going to be interesting to see is if consumers actually support it. And I think they will. I think that we are actually at a turning point in this issue.
You know, Terry, shopping fast fashion, shopping at places like Walmart, everyday low prices, that's helped Americans, you know, have more when they're earning less. And that's what those companies say. You know, they say we make the middle class better and stronger because the middle class can have these things. Is it as simple as that? Is that the trade-off we've made?
Well, no, but the interesting thing is that's true. It's been true ever since the Industrial Revolution. We can make products more efficiently and less costly and free up resources of the family either to work less and have more leisure or to have more things. So if you have less expensive clothing, that's a benefit to the American family. What I think Elizabeth is correctly pointing out is that we're in this fashion frenzy, this instant disposable fashion. And I agree that as we understand the drain on our resources and this frenzy of stuff we use, throw away, that goes out of style, that we are actually financing with debt, that's not a positive thing. But let me point out, when we take a look at what's going on in the factories in Bangladesh, which we all abhor, we are now exactly 102 years here in America from that horrible tragedy, the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire that took place in a sweatshop in New York City, where American young girls were making clothing at the same kind of low wages that we saw now around the world. Not to make it say it's right. What I'm saying is that maybe as our conscience becomes more aware that we don't have to follow fast fashion frenzy, we will take advantage of the lower cost of things, but buy them more sensibly.
And it's not about bailing out of Bangladesh so you can go someplace cheaper, so you can rush and go to India so you can find new sources. It's about fixing the mess you made, big companies. Exactly. That's the big message. Terry Savage, Elizabeth Klein, it's nice to see both of you. Coming up, your mom, your Aunt Bertha, even the president have told you about the importance of college.